everybody, Mr. O here, and I am going to now officially teach you the ink wash. Now I'm going to tell you why I did an outline inking and why some of the lines might be a little thicker than I had planned. I was experimenting with two different things, but getting to the ink wash, if I was 100% comfortable and it hasn't been like 15 years since I did it, like I mentioned in the first video, I thought, sometimes it's good for you to see, like when I make mistakes, when I make struggles, stuff like this. And like I said, the images, I had sources and stuff like that. Even as art teachers, we can't always create masterpiece for every example we're trying to do out there. But I'm gonna just tell you about the outlining, and I wanted to use this, and I discovered something really cool. I bought this. This is was part of a set. I got this, and I got this other pen, but this is a Francisco Rubinato glass tip pen, and the set usually goes for like $350. And I was able to buy it for $40. It had what we always use, hot glue gun, to fix anything that they thought that it was broken. They told me the tip was broken, and that's why I only paid for $40. Turns out, as I ripped it off, it just turned out that the original glue had dried out and it just popped out. And so what I did is got the proper glue and re-glued it. And so I inked the whole thing with this. And so I was learning the pen thicknesses and stuff like that. And the other thing is I tried out this ink, and I'm probably gonna, I feel like it says Yazitomo. I shouldn't say things I don't know without practicing, so I apologize to anyone I might have just insulted, but it's traditional Chinese ink. I bought a whole set. I even got ultra black, silver black, and golden black. And I'm gonna try them all on this picture, and that will be the finishing touches. So let's talk about the setup for the ink wash. Okay, with the ink wash, I'm naturally gonna use brushes. Now I'm just gonna show you the brushes. Most times, like in my classroom, the brush is basically a watercolor type brush, and I usually let students use, I have a certain type of inking one, and they're all about this size. I don't let them get bigger because I don't want them to be painting per se. We're inking, and brushing ink on is different than painting. Now this pen, you'll see me in the third video. Yes, there will be a third video. We'll call it the finishing video. Just because I inked it doesn't mean there's not more inking involved. And I'm gonna use a lot more of this pen because when I ink the black and stuff like that, I'll use probably both so you can see both my ink brushes, but I'm gonna do the gray wash. Instead of getting a large brush, I want everyone just get a number 2 watercolor brush of any brand, and I have a generic one here just to show you that not everything I have is going to be high-end. It doesn't need to be expensive stuff. You can use what you can get, and sometimes when you think about these things, as I've mentioned before, and I'm gonna show you why I like this thing too. You buy things on clearance. When you're thinking ahead, you can actually figure out what you might need. Like even this bowl, I think I got it for 47 cents because it was a clearance item. Because this is why I'm not going to do it above my picture. Okay, so I just got a little bubble, and it's probably because of the way I'm holding it, and I don't know what's going on. There we go. We got it flowing, and I'm not too worried. I'm not gonna put a lot in there because this is gonna be my ink wash bowl. I'm gonna let the ink, but I can seal it up. I have a bowl that has a rubber top, And when I was doing pen and ink, what I didn't mention is I had these old little whiskey jars. It was a Christmas gift. I think I mentioned them in color pencil. So I just filled up the ink in here to use it for my dip pen. It makes it really nice, convenient. You can always buy ink wells too. I do have a glass one, but since I have an active studio, I didn't like something that could be easily knocked over and opened up. Where if that's knocked over, it would have to break for ink to spill. But I just love that concept. The only problem is it would be difficult to put ink back in. So having resealable stuff will make it nice. And then I have my water, and I'm actually going to start putting stuff over here. I got my paper towel. I'm going to move my brushes. Oh, by the way, I want to show you my stupidity. I thought when I bought these on clearance, I told you I buy everything on clearance, $1.24. So I'm thinking they're just like brushes and stuff like that. It's actually a pen too. So I actually was gonna get this, I thought it was just a medium pen, but it's actually an ink pen. So I better start using them because it looks like it might be drying out, or it might be just a lighter ink that I can feather and use for stuff. So I gotta investigate this pen a little bit and use them before it dries up, because there's no point of getting a discount on something if you don't use it. Then it's not much of a deal. So I'm gonna just kind of make room for my palette. I got a regular paint palette. So here's my suggestion. And of course, again, I'm gonna talk about money. I think these are like $1.50 a piece if you can get them on the cheap. I kind of keep one that is for acrylic ink and black ink only, because it kind of stains. So it makes it a little easier to use. And I'm not mixing my watercolors into the same thing. That way, if there's any ink residue, because I don't clean well, it's not going to darken the watercolor up. So before I go to time lapse, I'm just going to show you, especially on this paper. I just have regular scrap drawing paper, and I'm just going to get water into I know you can't really see that. Maybe I should, you know what? Maybe I'll do it this way. Wasting your time, and I apologize. So I'm just going to pour a little water here, and you're going to see I'm going to set this in the center, and I'm going to get some ink. And remember, black is dominant. But as I get water, I just gently water down that ink. As you can see, it's still black, but as I go, notice the gray tones. Now, once I get water into it again, notice again, it gets lighter and lighter. And when I paint, it's just like inking. I go one direction, so there is similarity. And I want to keep a nice, somewhat even value. When you do ink wash, the value will jump around. So don't panic. But notice, instead of getting more ink, I just went with the gray. Went with the water and created a lighter gray. So I hope that makes sense, that even though you're using, you actually won't actually use a lot of ink. I just had to make sure I had enough for everything. And then I do want clean water versus what I'm going to have dirty water over here. I probably should not have picked the divot that has the big crack in it. This is not my day. I've been bleeding, stabbing myself in my fingers, and making a lot of poor choices that should not be complicated. All right. So just like if you saw the time lapse of the inking, you'll notice I start with the eyes, and I'm going to start with the eyes again too, okay? Now, I'm just going to get something going and just get the right color of gray. And I don't want super dark gray, and I'll just keep adding a little water, and because I can always make something darker. Now, I did not give this 24 hours to dry. Usually when I do black ink, I try to go maybe 24 hours. And here's something. Instead of using a white gel pen, I can start my gleam of my eye right there, okay? Now I'm going to actually get this wet. I'm not even going to test it. I just know it's going to be a little gray, and I want a little bit more water, and just even start it a lighter gray than that. It gives me something for my eyeball. I'm gonna just go back into this and just kind of create it a little darker. I don't want a white eyeball. And this will help me. I think what I'll do is I'll outline it a little bit until I get to that point, little shadow of the skull. And I'll create me, because I know this is gonna be a pitch black, and that's where I might try that ultra black. And I will do that with the other eyeball, and I'll do that in time lapse. Like I said, I am trying to be conscious of your time here, and I know kids have told me they don't mind the longer videos, but I know that when you're rewatching and trying to find something, because I've done it myself, I don't want it to be too long. So now I'm going to go for where there's going to be shadows. We know around the noses, around the eye itself, I'm going to have shadow. And I want to do kind of a lightish, is that a word, lightish, with the paintbrush, and get the inking, get the light gray. And I want you to be very aware of this. Please don't just color everything gray. You'll see that I'm gonna use white, use the white, where I'm gonna have grooves, as you can see. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little, with the lighter gray, I'm gonna go a little bigger, and then with the darker gray, I'm gonna go a little thinner. Let's see, do I have any dark gray left there? Here we go. And you can see by adding the value, I can just keep doing layers and upon layers, and that's what you want. Think of this as inking with a pencil. And then, yes, there is liquid graphite. But what I want to do is I want to create different shades of gray. I want to draw things that I didn't ink, and this is why I didn't want to put too much detail. And also because I wasn't very confident. Now, as I'm going, I could have been confident with this. And I'm just going to just keep painting and painting until I get all the grays. Now, here is like, I'm not going to do the black until that will be part of the finishing touches type thing. But I have to figure out, as an artist, the crow or the raven. The raven, I'm gonna put blacks, or grays in there, and then I'm going to do the black. And if that's going to be black dominant, how much black goes elsewhere? Because at one point I was thinking, well, should I do the background a solid black? But I'm thinking, if I have such heavy grays with the skull and black in the raven, I might like that white contrast. So you'll have to wait till the next video to see, or actually the end of this one to see what I decide. So I'm gonna start inking this. I'm gonna put it in time lapse, and I'm going to just do the gray wash. Again, ink wash is like, we have an acrylic wash. Basically, you water it down. That's the meaning of it, if that wasn't apparent, and I probably didn't define that very well. So we're watering down the ink to get these different grays, but where you put the grays is going to be very important, and don't lose the white. The paper itself is part of this artwork, and incorporate it some way, somehow, okay? No matter how dark your picture is going to be. Now, could you do washes of other colors? Absolutely. But if this is your first time, just get in the gray tones and then start adding colors to it, okay? All right, we'll see you back in the next video, and please enjoy the time lapse. And if you are enjoying this, please like and subscribe. It does help the channel. All right, we'll see you soon.